Eastern Creek represents the third round of the Carrick Industrial Equipment Sports Sedan season. After a Herculean comeback in season 06 saw Dean Randall take an unlikely championship win, his famous Saab had become the machine to beat this time around. But he didn't count on the return of Tony Ricciardello. The man who has taken out numerous sports sedan titles in recent years has returned to the championship this year and looks destined to rain on Dean Randall's parade after an eventful third race in round 2 at QR, where Randall threw down the gauntlet only to come to grief seconds later. Whilst the clock is ticking on the race to catch Ricky, the sports sedan field continues to swell, with new cars and drivers emerging every round. None more impressive than Bob Irvin, who'll be determined to prove that his Queensland heroics were not beginner's luck. It's now or never in terms of the championship, whilst a host of fresh faces will be eager to make an immediate impact at this, the third round of the Carrick Industrial Equipment Sports Sedan from Eastern Creek Raceway.
Time now to find out what really drives Australia's fastest sedan. To tell us about the awesome power and performance of the sports sedans is category manager Jeff Boyd. Jeff, we've got a Jaguar here.
Yeah, it's an awesome motor car, and you'll see the difference as I go through the car to a normal car. These cars have, this one here has got a 350 Chev, around about 700 horsepower. Your average car probably about 250 to 300. So there's a lot of power, very light cars, about 1,150 kilos. The brakes, for argument's sake, 350 mil on the front, 8-spot caliper. Your average car's got a 2-spot or a 3-spot and about half the size in the disc. The same in the rear, 250 mil caliper and a disc, and a 2-spot or a 4-spot caliper depending on the balance that they want to require. The gearbox themselves, all down the back, nothing up in the middle of the car like your normal car. Got a 5-speed Hollinger gearbox, independent rear suspension, all at the back of the car. Clutch, flywheel, everything at the back of the car. Gets the weight back over the back wheels, gets really good drive. So, you know, basically the cars are very safe. A full space frame chassis, which makes the car very strong and very, very safe and very fast.
Now, they're known as winged and wild for a reason. Tell us about the aerodynamics.
You certainly have. You're allowed, some cars now are allowed full under trays, which means that the air is sucked underneath, which sucks the car down. Of course, you've got a huge rear wing on the back of the car, which works the opposite to an aeroplane, pushes the car down, and then a big diffuser on the front, which again pushes the car down. So, and the most of them, as you can see with this beautiful Jaguar behind us, very sleek car in the first place, so very, very aerodynamic.
And the downforce then, I guess, for the speed of the car, what does it do to it?
Well, that pushes the car down to the ground so that the car through the corners doesn't slide and doesn't end up on the side of the track against the fence. So basically we're working the opposite to the aeroplane, same as a Formula 1 car, pushes the car down.
That's right. So what about the future direction of the cars? Well, you know, what are we making?
Well, we're hoping to get more of the sports car style cars in. There's rumours of an Aston Martin, even rumours of a Ferrari being built. So these cars probably will go away from the four-door sedan that we're very common with in sports sedans. Although we don't want to get rid of them, we want to keep them. But we're looking for some of these sportier cars like the Jag to come in and be very quick, like the Mazdas that we've already got and the Calibras we've got. So they're a very, very sporty car.
Well, the Carrick Industrial Sports Sedans are at their halfway point in the championship this weekend. Let's find out what the drivers are thinking halfway through season 07.
We had a couple of practice sessions yesterday and the car felt comfortable, and we weren't doing anything crazy, just looking after the car, and I think this morning qualifying will be good.
Looking at lap times like you did last year?
Yeah, we're probably a second off the pace at the moment from last year, but with green tyres we can pick up that pretty easily and hopefully, you know, be in the mid-29 second bracket, so it'll be good.
We're practicing on old tyres, so no, spectacular lap times at the moment, but put some new rubber on for the qualifying session and hopefully the 31s.
Pretty good so far. I made a few changes yesterday in the car, just ended up changing springs and just shock settings. So the car's going quite well at the moment.
At the moment it's not too good. We had quite a bit of problems yesterday. The last session we have broke a gear lever. We got it fixed. We'll go out with the old tyres the first session and try to put the new tyres on for the second session. and we'll see what's going to happen. We don't know exactly where we're going to qualify, but we'll try our best.
At this stage, we're a few points behind Tony. You've really got to go for it. So it's not just a matter of finishing second or third. You've really got to go for the win, I think. This weekend we've got 20 cars. The series is really starting to pick up momentum. The sports sedans are really taking hold, and hopefully Malala will have maybe 25, 26 cars. So the series is really looking good for the rest of the year.
Eastern Creek Raceway cars are on the racetrack now for race 1 of round 3 of the 2007 Carrick Sports Sedan Series. Some fantastic looking metal, and Tony Ricciardello, speaking of nice cars, that Alpha will go from pole position. Kerry Bailey from the outside of the front row, Irvin and Randall from the second row of the grid. I'm joined in commentary by Jeff Boyd. Big field of sports sedans here at Eastern Creek, Jeff. Strong championship. Ricciardello out in front though.
Yeah, Ricciardello has been doing it all year and doing it very strongly. Randall's still there, trying very hard. Kerry Bailey's improved his effort, and look at young Bobby Irvin in the Mazda. Second meeting out and right up on the grid there. Fantastic young fella and doing very well in the championship.
So cars will come round and roll up for a rolling start at Eastern Creek Raceway, which is a better thing at this racetrack because there's such a long start-finish straight and plenty of time for the safety car to pull off. When he does so, it's up to Ricciardello as the poleman to pace the field at about 80 k's an hour. Then they'll get thrown the green flag, and we'll see if Kerry Bailey can do anything. A great sight, so much horsepower rolling onto the start-finish straight at Eastern Creek Raceway. They come to the grid. They will get the green flag very shortly, and it'll be an Alfa Romeo and a Nissan 300ZX leading this field away. Good formation so far. Green flag flies. We're underway at Eastern Creek Race 1. The Carrick Industrial Sports Sedan Championship, the halfway mark in the series. And the field runs down to turn 1.
Yeah, good start from Trent Young back into about 4th place at the moment. We're following Daniel Jamieson of Frederick Caesar. Got a good start too on the outside. Goes down very deep under brakes, around past the Jag. Voigt there on the inside as well. So a good start, and Young
Bailey
trying very hard. Bailey's up on the inside. I missed that. Good, well done, Richard. It's a good start from him. Good start to the season too after a bad year last year. Ricciardello back on the inside into turn 4. Bailey back into 2nd place. Irvin up into 3rd, and then the Carrick sponsored car of Randall, the next one through.
Yeah, disappointing qualifying for Dean Randall. I'm sure he'll be like to be much further up the field, but he's moved himself up into 4th of the start. I tell you what, that was a great first sequence of corners. Kerry Bailey, very aggressive off the start. He went side by side with Ricciardello through turn 1, turn 2 and turn 3, but Ricciardello had the run on the inside into turn 4 as Phil Cropton dives up the inside of the Commodore round the back of Corporate Hill. Couldn't make the move stick, but some great onboard footage nonetheless.
Yeah, you'll look for a cut back on the inside of Frederick Caesar. He's not going to get it this time, but look at that Trans Am Mustang, a beautifully turned out car, came out of New Zealand, and Phil going very well this weekend after a horror run at Queensland, but going very well. Trent Young in the little rotary powered turboed Mazda, they're a little bit further back, but Trent showing good promise this weekend, and turbo cars going really well this weekend with Graham Smith in the Calibra back a little bit further, but doing well. There he is on screen now, and another turbo car. So these 3 turbo cars up in the field this weekend.
Yeah, driving past the Jaguar there was Smith. Back on board with Cropton now through turn 1. One of the fastest corners in Australian motorsport. Caesar in front, and a battle there as well. The Calibra and the Jag still side by side, and Smith has managed to get himself up the inside and take that position away from the 45 car of Daniel Jamieson.
Yeah, good effort from Graham Smith, a little Mazda quad cam, and Jamieson looking back on the inside. Oh, there's been a touch, and they've both gone off. One's gone to the right-hand side of the circuit and spins. Hopefully he'll stay off the wall. He does, and I think Graham Smith may have went off on the other side. Look at the debris on the track. The grass come on from Eastern Creek now. I'll have a look at a replay here of Graham Smith and Jamieson on the inside. I don't think either of them gave themselves a lot of room. Jamieson looks like he's going off on the inside, which he has, and the V8 powered Jaguar spins on the inside. Very lucky to keep it off the wall, and I think Graham Smith may have gone off on the inside, but luckily no real damage to either car.
I think Smith, he came from a long way out on the racetrack, didn't he? I'm not sure if he expected Jamieson to make a dive down into turn 4 to make the pass, so an inevitable coming together between those 2 cars. Unfortunately, Daniel Jamieson off to the side of the racetrack there, and not sure if he will take part in any further in this motor race, but Smith lives to fight another day. The Honda of Charlie Sinisi nice new paint scheme and livery on his car this year, and he continues to chip away and make ground. Here's Exisa. He's putting the pressure on Crompton now in the Mustang as they run down the start-finish straight towards turn 1.
Certainly, there's only one Trans Am car this weekend, and that's Crompton, with the Des Wall car still injured after Oran Park's big crash. So hopefully Des will be back at Malala, so we'll have two Trans Am cars back on the grid for next round, hopefully, as Fred Exisa in the beautifully turned out VY Commodore does fantastic job right on the back of the Trans Am at the moment of Crompton, but still back in the field with the leaders starting to pull away now. It'll be interesting to see where Bobby Irvin is, and this young kid's doing very well from Queensland. Just bought the car and doing extremely well, qualified 3rd or 4th this weekend, and doing a fantastic job. But Fred Exisa and the Mustang of Crompton. And we go back to Graham Smith, who's still going along at the moment after that accident with Jamison, and just in front of Crompton at the moment.
Great shot of the front wheel of Crompton there as he turned into the back of Corporate Hill and spinning, I should say, flames out the side as they come around in the braking zone. Tell you what, Crompton seems pretty strong in the second half of the lap, isn't he? Exisa was pretty close as they started this lap, but Crompton has been able to pull away in the 21 car and make some ground. Phil still leading things behind the scenes in the Carrick Industrial Sports Sedan Series, and such a big supporter of this style of racing. As we take a look at the number 2 car, the Honda NSX of Stephen Voigt from Queensland. This is a good-looking race car, isn't it? And Stephen's been a long-time supporter of sports sedan racing, but he's about to be overtaken. The 41 car on the inside in a straight line. The Rotary going past the V8.
Yeah, the Trent Young car going very well this weekend. They really are starting to get a handle on this car now, and they've increased the turbo size. They've done all sorts of cooling of the engine, and it is starting to work. And you can see Trent Young up on the inside of Stephen Voigt in the 300ZX. The Queensland has done well. And look at the replay. There's no shortage of power out of the little triple rotor Mazda. Admittedly it's turbo, but very, very quick to pass the 6-litre Chev on the inside there. They're going down the main straight, still holding him out at the moment as they go over through turn 4.
I was going to say, Voigt was sticking his nose up. I was wondering if we were going to see a repeat of what happened earlier on between Daniel Jamison and Smith in the Calibra, but Voigt backed out. Discretion the better part of Valour that time by it. And Trent Young can continue on his merry way in the 41 car, and that was a really nice pass. Not often do you see a Rotary passing a V8 in a straight line, is it? But I guess a testament to the kind of work that they've put into this car.
They certainly have, and they're going well. The Hercules sponsored car, the 300ZX, has a look on the outside. It's a long way round, but he'll try and duck back on the inside. He gets his nose up on the inside, but I don't think he'll do it. The Mazda's holding in front at the moment, but Stephen Voigt had a very, very strong round at Queensland Raceway. Not quite as strong here at Eastern Creek, but really loves Queensland. So he's just got to get his act together. Still a couple more races to go over the weekend, and remember, it's a controlled tyre, so they must run the tyre that they've got on now for the whole 3 races and qualifying as well. So they want to look after those tyres and don't go too sideways or burn those tyres out. So Stephen Voigt back in about 5th or 6th place at the moment, and it looks like the leaders have really got away at the moment with Ricciardello up front, with Irvin, Bailey, and also Dean Randall there. As we talk, here we are. Bailey hasn't dropped off the back of Ricciardello at the moment. A good showing from Bailey in the 300ZX from Queensland. He's really had a tough year, but starting to get a handle on the car again. Young Glenn Seaton was in the car, done some testing for Queensland, and definitely found some speed in the car as Voigt has a look up on the inside. He's going into turn 4, favourite position, but as we saw it come to grief there earlier, he's got right round the inside, done well.
Huge move by Stephen Voigt, wraps Trent Young up, round he goes. And that was Big G. He's strong across the back of turn 4 and turn 5. And he's retaken that position. I was just going to say, Jeff, you're talking about Kerry Bailey and Tony Ricciardello going for the lead, that Voigt wasn't able to make any ground on Young on the run down the start-finish straight. So the Mazda clearly quickest in a straight line, but Voigt good through the twisty stuff. He's retaken the position now, and we'll see if Trent Young can come back at him. But that was a great overtaking manoeuvre.
Yeah, Trent Young getting this back out a little bit. A replay there of him going through on the inside, and a very clear and decisive pass. Done it very well. But I was watching Trent Young maybe just getting to starting to cook the back tyres a little bit. The car's getting a little bit sideways coming out of the corner, so maybe the power of the little triple rotor is just starting to play up with the tyres.
We're going to take a break from Eastern Creek. Back with more from the Carrick Sports Sedans on the other side of this.
The night of horror, in which all seniors were out driving at the same time, causing 14 deaths and $3 million in damage.
You're not going to stop until we're all dead!
Beware, seniors and giant beavers are out and about tomorrow on SBS.
Agent 69 here. What's going on, Chief?
A giant beaver is threatening the well-being of the citizens of our great city.
Hey mate, in 2006, a Norwegian court ruled that striptease is an art form and made strip clubs exempt from GST. More money for snazzy G-strings, I reckon.
Yeah, it's embarrassing, but I'll admit it. I was taken for a ride, okay? I thought broadband was pretty much all the same, until I saw that Optus ad.
If you're in an Optus Direct or cable area, get started on broadband for just $19.95 a month for eligible customers. And right now, you'll also get $0 installation. Plus, there'll be no nasty surprises at bill time. So call 1-800-600-101.
Yeah.
Emergency, police, fire, ambulance. Yes, police, fire, or ambulance.
It's my friend.
Okay, look, I need you to stay on the phone. Just stay on the phone.
He's turning blue.
Okay, now hang on. Oh.
000's sole job is to connect you to emergency services. So please, stay on the line and you'll get help faster.
National Security Hotline.
Hi, I'm calling about something I saw the other day that seemed a bit strange.
I overheard them planning something. I felt like I had to let you know.
Documents from suspicious websites.
Your detailed information could help keep Australia safe. So if you see or hear something that just doesn't feel right, call the National Security Hotline on 1-800-123-400. You can remain anonymous. National Security. Every detail helps.
National Security Hotline.
Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
Home loan shouldn't be like this. That's why at Bank of Queensland, our home loan privileges package not only comes with a discounted rate, but a personal bank manager who owns their branch and is there for the life of your loan. Bank of Queensland Home Loans. Call 1300-PERSON or come and see us today.
We're back at Eastern Creek International Raceway in Sydney for round 3, race number 1 of the Carrick Industrial Sports Sedan Series. It's been a great battle so far, and these massive monsters of the racetrack going at it very, very hard. Charlie Sinisi going into turn 2, perhaps a little too hard, locks the rears and spins the car off to the outside of the racetrack.
Yeah, the Queensland commercial vehicle there is getting a little bit slower, trying to get back on the circuit now. He's put a new engine in this car, got a lot more horsepower, so he's just starting to work a replay there, just locks the back up, comes in a little bit tight and has a big spin, goes off, doesn't do any damage to anybody, just a bit of dirt and dust. He'll clean that up for race 2, no problems at all.
So the battle continues. Jordan Roddy in the Jag. So we take a look at the current placings. Ricky Adello is your leader from Kerry Bailey. Bobby Irvin runs in 3rd place. Dean Randall 4th in the number 1 car. Voigt, Young, Crompton next Cisa. And we've seen a great battle between those two most of the race complete the top 8. So this is the battle between Nelson in the Saab and Roddy in the Jag, 2 newcomers to the championship this year. We go back on board the Carrick on board with Phil Crompton.
Yeah, it certainly is a good shot there of the dash and out through the windscreen of the Crompton car. Out on his own at the moment, the interleasing Saab. He's doing a good job, Mark Nelson, back in the pack this weekend. But remember, he has just come into the championship, and Mike Roddy actually taking over the duties of driving the Jag this weekend from his son. So good effort from him, and just got the car a little bit sideways, but keeping out of trouble right at the back of the field. And we must thank Kerrick, of course. If you need some industrial equipment, cleaning equipment, go and see Kerrick. They're the sponsors of this series, and it's great to have Kerrick on board.
McCready in the Rover Vitesse coming onto the start-finish straight, a unique car to go for sports sedan racing. I guess that's one of the appealing things about this category, Jeff, is that you can take a body from just about any car with a remotely aerodynamic shape and go motor racing with it. As we start the final lap, 1 to go, the Kerrick Industrial Sports Sedan Championship here at Eastern Creek Raceway. And McCready putting the pressure on Sinisi at the moment, up to turn 2.
Yeah, certainly did. One of the very, very strong runners in the New South Wales Championship. McCready does a fantastic job running in the National Series, but very, very strong in the State Series that he normally runs in. But yes, you're right, these cars, we can change the bodies around and add aerodynamic aids, flare the guards out, lower the body right down, so they look really good. The old Rover test getting a little bit old in the models now, but still looks great as the championship winning car at the moment comes onto the main straight for his last time. Ricciardello looks like he's going to take this one by a clear margin over Kerry Bailey.
Great drive. Tony Ricciardello wins race 1 at Eastern Creek Raceway. Second place will go to Kerry Bailey. Strong drive in the opening few laps. Bobby Irvin for 3rd, Randall for 4th. Good drive for Voigt to 5th place ahead of Young, Crompton, and Exceeds have completed the top 8.
Yeah, look, I was pretty happy with that run. We were pretty consistent through the race and come back with the win.
You seemed to pull away from him in the final couple of laps. Were you still on it pretty hard towards the end of the race?
Yeah, look, we were, and I think it's good that we're looking after the tyres pretty well on the car. So we've got a few long races this afternoon, so that's our main intent, is to look after the tyres, and if we can do that, I think we're looking good for the rest of the day.
Well, I got a pretty good start there, but I knew a corner Tony would get me on, and he did exactly that, and I was just happy to stay with him. I know where I've got to improve the car now, and I was pretty happy with that. In certain corners, it's really, really good, but it struggles in a couple of little areas. But the faster you go, the more of the little problems you have, and then you iron them out, and hopefully it makes it go a bit quicker. But no, it's going well.
Do you think you can get a bit more out of it for the next race?
Oh, a little bit, just a little bit. Only need a little bit.
Yeah, no, we got a good start, and Voidy got us, and then we battled away and got back under him, and the car was really, really good. And sort of probably about lap 6, the car started to go off, and yeah, just eliminated the front left-hand tyre.
Amid the hype of the 2007 season, the arrival of Bob Irvin onto the scene almost slipped under the radar. New to the category in round 2, Irvin made a stunning debut at Queensland Raceway and looks set to impress again, this time around at Eastern Creek.
Bit of a new learning curve for us. We haven't really done any sports sedan national rounds, so we're just sort of trying to feel our way into it. It's a new car and with the turbo and everything, so we're just, it's an awesome debut, and we're just hoping to try and go really good at this round too and try and keep it up.
When entering any battle, you need a weapon, and Bobby Irvin almost certainly has one.
Basically a Mazda RX-7 Series 6 body shell on a space frame with a Nissan SR20 engine and obviously a turbo and a Hewland transaxle gearbox. Obviously it handles very well and it's got a lot of power, so it's a really good little package, and we're just trying to get me up to speed, and we'll go from there, try and develop it a little bit.
Whilst Irvin's natural talent is obvious, no one could have expected his Queensland heroics in his first ever outing in sports sedan racing.
It was all a little overwhelming, to be honest. Like, we didn't go there with too high expectations, obviously, being the first round and all, so we just felt our way into it, and it was all just fell into place really nicely.
With so many options available to go racing in Australia, for Irvin, the choice to link up with the Kerrick Industrial Equipment sports sedans was simple.
It's a great category. My father's always been involved in the category, and he's always loved it. So yeah, no, it's awesome. All the cars are really fast, and they're great competitors. Obviously, you got pretty good names like Ricciardello and guys that have been around a long time like Kerry Bailey, Steve Voigt. They're all extremely talented drivers, so if we can match it with them, we'll be really happy.
Time to take a look at some highlights now from race 2, round 3 of the Kerrick Industrial Sports Sedan Series, and notably a couple of cars missing from the rolling start. Phil Crompton and Kerry Bailey and Mark Nelson all off on the warm-up lap. Lots of dramas for some leading contenders. A good start was made by Tony Ricciardello, but round the outside in turn 1 was Dean Randall in the Kerrick car. He flew around the outside of the championship leader, but unfortunately grabbed some fluid on the racetrack into turn 2. He ran wide, and it was all gone from there with Ricciardello taking the lead. Bobby Irvin in the Mazda RX-7 also had a spin and was caught up in that drama at turn number 2. This race was really a story of cars coming from the back of the field. After his race 1 collision with Smith in the Calibra, Daniel Jamieson in the 45 car was forced to work his way from the back, and he narrowly avoided Charlie Sinise, who spun exiting turn 5 in his Honda. Jamieson continued his charge. He passed the other Smith in the field in the 44 car into turn 1 and was quickly making amends for his dramas. Also coming through the field was Mike Roddy in the other Jaguar. The V12 powered example powered around the outside of Smith down the start-finish straight and led him into turn 2. Another car on the comeback trail was Irvin in the Mazda RX-7 after his lap 1 spin at turn 2. He passed Dean Cam and Smith in the Rover Vitesse to work his way through the field. He then went up the inside of Roddy and set out after Axisa in the VS Commodore. It was a great charge through the field, and Evan went up the inside into turn 4 to take that position away. And the Mazda was clearly hooked up, certainly ruining the spin. In the opening laps, he could have been an outright contender in this race. Speaking of outright contenders, it was all Tony Ricciardello who led lights to flag and beat Dean Randall, Stephen Voigt, Bobby Irvin and Mike Roddy completed the top 5.
Dean sort of put a bit of a despot on turn 1, and then it was sort of, 3/4 way past me, and I knew on turn 2 there was a puddle of water going across the track, so I sort of braked early, and he sort of braked fairly deep anyway, and sort of locked up and went off, and I sort of just went underneath him and got on with my race, so had a good result.
I went on the outside of Tony, had a bit of grip on the outside, a bit surprising. The car held on really well. And then into turn 1, I went a bit deep. There's a bit of water across the track from the kart accident of the previous race. And then Tony got up the inside. And he's got so much drive out of corners, that car. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. We ended up third in that one there. We sort of got past young Bobby and Trent down the first couple of corners there. There was a bit of a wet spot down there, so I think they were a bit cautious down there. So Dean ran, I just went around the outside a couple, so worked out pretty good.
Well, the racing may have been competitive, but the Kerrick Industrial Sports Sedan Series is a one-way street for Tony Ricciardello at the moment. 146 points with Voigt in second, Randall third. It's going to be a tough ask to beat Tony this season.
Well, that wraps up another fantastic round.